Good evening or morning or whenever you watch this. My name is Dalton Hurley. This is my presentation for an essay that I wrote for Mrs. Withers' class in English 112 at Gaston College. This will be about fire behavior or what fire does or how it acts and some components of it. Um, First off, fire is a very powerful natural event that happens. It is man made and it is a natural event, per se, like wildfires, like you see in this picture. Most of wildfires are caused by lightning. It usually it strikes a tree or grass, and it starts from there. It just gets bigger and bigger. It's also man made, like I said before. Neanderthals are said to have created fire. Um, And we use fire all the time within our life. We use it for cooking, to cook meat and other meals that you will see. We use it for heat, things like campfire. If you ever go camping, you always want to have a campfire because you never want to get too cold. We use it to power machines, like your engines that's in your car. It uses fire to burn off and make power. Same with like trains, your old coal engine fires or coal engine trains and steam trains. They use the fire to make it go. And we also use fire for light, like for example, like candles. The fire is always around us, and it is per se what they teach us as firemen. It is a living, breathing thing that is around us. It grows, it dies, it likes to eat, and you never know. It's just always around us. Some things that happens, unfortunately, it destroys everything in its path. Um, and it also creates smoke, which is the byproduct. And it just, like I said, it's a living thing. This presentation will be very short, but let's see if I can move that a little bit. So a simple thing that they teach you in science class is a thing called the fire triangle. You have to have all three components for a fire to happen. You have to have oxygen, you have to have heat, and you have to have fuel. If you have all three, you have a fire. If you do not, and if you have two out of the three, a fire will not happen. As firemen, we replace oxygen or heat with water, and that is what puts the fire out. Some things that they teach us in fire school, and it's a little bit of a more advanced than the fire triangle, is the fire tetrahedron. It still has the three components. It just adds that fourth component, the chemical reaction, and it just advances it. Um, it just says that it grows. The chemical reaction, once it happens, the chemical reaction keeps repeating itself, and the fire will grow bigger. Excuse me, I have a little technical difficulties. Now we're going to talk about the stages of fire. There's four stages of fire. The first one is the incipient stage, which is the beginning stage of fire. That is what the fire starts out as. It starts very small, and like you see here, it could be something as a small fire on the couch or the bed. This is where it starts, and then the next stage is growth stage. This is where that small fire will get bigger and bigger. Fire acts the way of like a convection oven. What they teach in school is hot air rises, cold air sinks. The same way happens with fire. The heat rises, so the fire will automatically rise up to the ceiling or whatever stops it. And then it spreads out. So it's up and out. And fire likes to travel the path of the least resistance. So if a fire's in a room and you open the front door, that fire will eventually make it to that front door. Wherever that oxygen is coming in, that is where the fire is going to go. So use the path of least resistance. This is also where they teach you to stay low and crawl out of a fire. They teach us to go get low and crawl into the fire. Your survivability is at the lowest because it's cooler down there than it is up high with the toxic gases. Um, Excuse me. A thing will happen. It's called a flashover. That is between the growth stage and the fully developed stage. That is where they teach us fire starts rolling over your head. You get a dramatic increase in heat, and the bottom floor starts off gassing. That is where the whole room is about to be fully engulfed, and it will turn into this fully developed stage. This is where everything in the room is on fire. And once that happens, everything burns off. You get the decay stage. This is usually where a thing called a backdraft happens. That's where everything's kind of burnt out, and then fire smoldering, and then it gets an increase in oxygen, and an explosion will happen. That is where the famous movie Backdraft with Kurt Russell, that's where this is based off of. You got your new school versus old school building construction. Newer houses use this lightweight wood frame construction with gusset plates. They do not hold up very well in heat. The little silver things are called gusset plates. They're like little sheet metals with tacks in it. Once the heat impinges on that, they fail. That's where a lot of collapse will happen. The right picture is the old school heavy timber, to where that will hold up a lot better than this one on the left. It also happens with furniture. The newer style furniture, which is on the left, will burn a lot hotter and faster and cause blacker smoke. It's just because it has a lot of leather and polyester and man-made stuff. The one on the right, the old furnishings, is wood and cotton based. They don't burn as hot. The next is smoke reading. Smoke reading, the blacker the smoke, the hotter the fire is. Or you'll burn that plastics and polyesters. It makes it real toxic, real black smoke where you can't see. Cotton and wood will have like a brownish tint to smoke. White smoke usually says water's on the fire. And then there's our turnout gear. It's very important to know our limits as firemen, because this stuff will fail. It will fail immediately around 1200 degrees Fahrenheit, and it will prolong. It will be about 600 degrees prolonged. It will start to fail. Thanks for this presentation, and hopefully you learned something.